Good morning. Today is February 28th, Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Today we're going to take a look at something that has been requested quite a lot, and that is a look inside our blockchain education auto trading system. We're going to talk about how the system works, how to how to determine based on your trading ability what percentage of profit to take, whether or not to use trailing take profit, and how trailing take profit actually works. The key to this is, recent signals. So let's take a look at one of my favorite signals, which is called the medium long calls. Click on auto trading from inside the system, and then it takes you to a page where you can choose spot trading and futures or margin trading. Now the margin trading is still under development. It has been a long time in the making. We do have active auto trading for futures, where you can trade either single coins or you can trade mixed altcoin futures. Now when you get into mixed altcoin futures in one of the signal streams, either medium or long term, you can make a setting that basically just says take profit at 5%. And you choose your leverage based on how much risk you want to take, and that's pretty much it. So when you go into futures, you have Otis, which is short term, ALDA, medium term, and Prospero, longer term. Now Prospero is based on 4-hour candles, and ALDA is based on 1-hour candles. So in a market that is really kind of going up and down a little bit, ALDA is probably slightly better performing, and it will also flip trades for you, short to a long, long to a short, in order to save the trade. For example, if the signal comes out and you have a long position, say on Polkadot, and suddenly Bitcoin makes a crazy move and the trend starts going the other way, on an individual basis, the system will flip the trade for you from a long to a short, and then you end up taking profit 95% of the time, or even more than that. You will take profit on the flipped position, but in order for the trade to flip, you actually have to get into a position to where you're slightly losing, sometimes 20, 30, 40% net on the trade. Net means after leverage is applied. And then you end up going the right direction based on the market change and take profit. So the system does that a fair amount in the medium term, just because you have 1-hour candles, and it's more sensitive to price movement. Now, on a market that is generally down, Prospero is going to work better. I've noticed that in the, from the dip that's happened with Bitcoin in the last several days, Prospero has performed really well. Let's take a look at the recent results. You just click on this button that says Results, and it will show you, starting with the most recent, the time, date stamp of each signal in futures. Again, this is the long-term 4-hour candle futures, mixed altcoins. Now we can see that in just 17 hours, near US dollar tether made over 13%. These are really, really good numbers. And these numbers are before you apply any leverage. So if you're taking, say, a 5x on this one, IOST, you would be at about 120% profit just on that one signal. So if you scroll down, you can see amazing results. This is a really, really incredible futures automated system. I don't think there's anything on the planet that can even come close. If you find one, please let us know, because we would like to study it and just know that it's out there. We've been looking for a long time. We haven't found anything that can even hardly take a few percent in either futures or spot. And these signals are just crazy. So let's get right into the whole thing. Let's go to the setup for a spot trading signal first. Now this is one of my favorite signals, medium long term. It says signals 14 to 20 days. This means about how long the programming team figures that you want to stay in to take maximum profit, for the signal to really develop to its full potential. What I'm seeing is it's really more like 5 to 10 days, because you kind of want to get that turnover going, even though you're waiting a little bit longer. This is a 4-hour candle stream, I believe. Even though you've got a lot of profit, I think that you're really taking maximum profit in about 5 to 7, 5 to 8 days. Sometimes a little longer, but that just seems to be the general consensus from looking at the results and really studying them quite a bit. Let's go into results here of the medium long-term spot signals. Now again, this is fully automated for anyone that is not familiar with the system. And these are active signals that are still moving. These were called, the time since called 7 days 42 minutes. These are all called on the 28th, the first three. This is UCT time, by the way, which is the old Greenwich Mean Time, London time. So this is 8 hours later than my personal time zone, which is Pacific. So this call came out at 1100 hours on 2/28. Since that time, it has gained a maximum profit of 5.63%. This is the entry price. This is the coin pair, time since called, date and timestamp. Now, if these look too good to be true, any of these can be verified on TradingView. Just set your TradingView for UCT time. Look at the chart. Look at the coin. What was the price when, at this exact time? And that was the price. So we can't go and make these up. When you start getting down to about 7 days, see, we've got 97% on SRM. These, of course, are all longs because they are a spot trade, of course. A lot of these are still doing extremely well for the oppressive condition of Bitcoin going down by about $15,000. And, they just continue to get better and better. The team is always working on these to just fine-tune it a little bit, but they're just about at their peak. I don't think there's much more that then can be done to perfect this system. FTM has done incredible things. If you can remember, FTM a few weeks ago skyrocketed from something like 58 sats to over 700. And that's also a futures traded coin, so it had all that extra volume. The whales were full into it. And then it kind of died down, and then it picked up again, hit higher highs, all-time high. Just went up incredibly. 450% was the last run. So it really has done well. MTL, 119% basically, 12 days. Now, a lot of these are just really doing well, so well in fact that if you're able to do basic technical analysis, there's no reason why you can't set up one of these signals, such as this one, medium long term, with 100% profit setting. I really like trailing take profit because the first number is the trigger. Let's say it's 100%. The second number is the deviation. Let's say it's 5%. 5% deviation is the maximum that Binance allows. So the trigger at 100% would set the trailing stop, which is your deviation. So what would happen there at 100% and 5 is once it gets to 100% profit above your entry price, and then only when it falls back by a full 5%, then it sells. That would give you a net of 95% profit. But if the trade goes higher than 100%, then it won't sell it until it falls back by 5%. The reason for this is, in order to catch the full potential of a coin, you need to be able to have a stop at some point. This is like an automatic stop limit sell order that moves, so it's a trailing stop. And if the price goes up to a certain point and it's just really pumping and then it falls back, that could be a sign that the trend has just rolled over, just starting to get over with, and you catch it and you walk away with almost everything that is possible automatically. So that is one way to do it. Trailing take profit at 100% and 5% deviation. Now, a lot of people have jobs. They don't really have time to look at every signal. You can manipulate not only the type of coin pair that you get into by keeping either only Bitcoin in your Binance.com account, or you can keep Bitcoin and US dollar tether in any percentage of ratio that you want, or you can trade only against US dollar tether. I'm not sure why anyone would want to with the value of Bitcoin. It's definitely going to be higher in the upcoming months, a lot higher. So you can see all these are running after 5 days in the 20s, 27%, 34%. Now, someone who just wants this to pretty much run automatically, you could definitely set this at, say, 25%, 23%. Every one of these would hit profit. After 5-6 days, boom, boom, every single one of them. And that's really an incredible profit for a fully automated system. Now, basically what I'm kind of been saying is the system is fully automatic, but you can use anything you want, from one extreme to being completely automatic, and you don't do anything with it except, look at your history once a day and look at how much profit you made. So on a sliding scale, the next step up would be set a higher take profit or trailing take profit and check your trades history twice a day. And then do a little bit of management. Maybe look at some of the TradingView charts for those trades and see if it's going to go up more. If you have a series of higher highs and higher lows, and you can put a channel floor and channel roof on that, then the price is likely going to go up until it falls through that channel floor. Now that's one way to manually adjust the profit that you take on signals, just by doing that one simple thing. It really doesn't take a lot of practice to be able to spot a trend and to be able to draw those two simple lines on your TradingView chart. And by the way, those lines will stay there until you remove them. So let's go back and look at the actual settings page. Now this is the results page. If you remember, we clicked on the results tab. Let's go medium long term, check the settings tab, and this is where we would actually set up the trade for this signal. Now the first thing you do is answer the question, would you like to activate long-term signals auto trading? If you click yes, then everything instantly opens up below you. Now the first thing is, how much do you want to allocate for this particular stream? Let's say you had $2,000 to trade with, that you're going to allocate for 2 different signal streams, and you want to just put half in here and half in another stream. The example is $1,000 allocated. Now that means that allocated amount will be split between however much per signal that you put in down below here and open at any given time. So if you had, say, $100 per signal, this would probably get you into about 9 signals that are open at any given time at the same time. Now if one of those closes at a profit, or you decide to close it for some reason, that's going to open up another $100 position for you, assuming you still have the maximum open with just enough to get into one more signal. So now there's something called slippage due to market buying. That's the only way to get a large group of traders with a lot of money into one signal, is by market buying. What that does, it basically just takes pieces of whatever is sitting out there and it just buys it for you as quickly as possible. It usually happens within about 3 seconds of the order being placed. So you activate it, you put in your allocated budget per signal amount. Now, the reason 9 signals is going to be the number is because there's an average of about 1 to 2% upward slippage when everybody goes into the trade at once. It's just an effect of buying with a lot of money very quickly. I would imagine that, with a few hundred traders, it would probably move the price, with pretty good volume on a coin already, about 2% maximum. And that's going to give you anywhere from maybe a 0.5% higher to 2% higher than the actual call price, the one that the system came out with. So anyway, this is going to get me into 9 calls. Now take profit, if you put in your, say, 23%, that's going to take profit at 23% higher than what you personally got into that signal at, not 23% higher than the actual price that came out in the results page. Now there's going to be a little bit of difference, but not much, and that's just plain and simple. 23% above your entry, boom, it's sold, you take profit and moves on. Now trailing take profit has got 2 numbers, 2 fields, trigger value and deviation. Now if I'm going to take 25%, let's say 23%, I'm going to take 23% trigger, and this is going to be as close to automatic as possible without having to really intervene or cancel sell orders and set my own and run charts. If I don't have time to do that, or if I don't have the ability to do that, I'm going to take whatever the highest average is after about 5, 6, 7 days, and I'm going to use that as my take profit. When the price hits 23%, it's going to set whatever you put in here. Now you have to have a number in here. Either 1, you can use 0.5, you can use 0.7. I like whole numbers. I usually use 5. That means once you get to 23%, it's going to tell Binance to set a trailing stop at 5% below that 23% mark. But if the price keeps moving up, it's not going to sell at your trailing stop because the price is going up. Let's say the price goes to 35%. Of course, I'm not going to change it like that in here. I would leave it at 23, of course. Let's say the price goes to 35% and then drops back 5%. Well, it should hit your new trailing stop and sell at a 30% net. So that's how that works. And of course, if it goes up to 100% before falling back ever by 5%, then you get 95%. So kind of doing a quick recap, if you want this to run automatically, you could set this at 23, deviation 5, and just check your calls once a day. If you're not big on charting, or you're not really sure how to read a TradingView chart, which we do recommend that all members have TradingView as well, then you could ask an analyst on our site and say, hey, can you check on ADA for me to see if I should keep it, kind of how is it looking, should I keep it, sell it, what should I do? And there'll be somebody there to help you, usually within just a few minutes. So let's say 23 trigger, deviation is 5, no stop loss, because you already have the deviation working as a trailing stop, and then you click Save Changes, and that's it. You are now set up to get into medium-long signals. And let's move back and look at the next one here, which is the Warren Buffett 100. Let's take a look at the results real quick. and see what they look like. I haven't looked at this one for a few days. Now we've got really good results, 18 hours, just a little less than 19, 12% on Matic, US dollar tether. This is really a quick one and looking really good on Matic. Almost 13% on Atom BTC, and that's after just 3 days, 17 hours. So anyway, once we get down to about 6-7 days, we start looking at some really good numbers here. They're usually better than this, and the reason is because Bitcoin has dropped, like I said, around $15,000 in value. Now you can see that even though it did that, a lot of these are still, making really good profit. 145% on BNB. That's been a crazy one. 6 months ago, BNB was like $12, $15. Now it's gone over $300. So we have these great signals. Warren Buffett 100, definitely one of my top 2 favorite signals based on 1-day candles. So this will take a little bit longer to really come into full potential. But once you get down to about 14, 15 days, everything's big numbers. 100% on Dash, 125% on IOST, 11% on ZRX, 10% on BAT, ETC 51.5%. So that's what that looks like. It's an amazing signal. I highly recommend this one, especially if you want to run some big numbers on your auto trading. This is one of the signals to be in. We'll go back one and we'll look at these settings, which is the setup page for Warren Buffett 100. Of course, each one of these has its own settings button, so you can set them up individually. And we do recommend either getting into one signal type or 2 signal types. If you get into more than 2, you're going to start getting some duplication because the conditions that qualify a coin pair to become a trade like this, an auto trade, they're going to be a little bit crisscrossed in some of them, but I can tell you they're not going to be coming out at the same time. They'll be coming out at different times if there are any duplications, and that's only because they're excellent, fantastic signals. If you stay in no more than 2 different, or if you enter into no more than 2 different signal types, you'll be guaranteed a very minimum of duplication. So with this one, I have set this up $1,000 allocated budget, $100 per signal. This is one of my trades, one signal stream that I'm using. So I clicked yes, $1,000 per allocated, $100 per signal. This will get me into about 9 calls that are all open at the same time. I've set up trailing profit at 100% trigger, 5% deviation. So I'm basically, the way I look at this is almost like setting an open, profit for every call that comes out of this signal stream, because none of them are going to do anything until they get to 100%. That gives me time to evaluate each signal. After a couple days, I see where it's going, throw it up on TradingView, look at the chart, and draw a couple of trend lines, floor and channel, and just see where it's going. Is it still in the channel? Has it fallen out of the channel? And then we also have the big drop in Bitcoin that we need to really exercise patience, because I can guarantee you that most of the calls that are down quite a bit are going to skyrocket once Bitcoin really pulls out of this slump. So this is the setting here. I've already gotten calls that have gone to 100% and already sold, and no stop loss. So that's it. This is the setting for the Warren Buffett 100 spot signal. Now this video has been a little bit longer than I expected it to be, because I really like to talk. So let's go and look at the Prospero setup. So if I want to get into futures, the first thing I need to realize is, even with fully automated futures, you can make a lot more money, but you're increasing your risk factor. So risk versus profit ratio. This comes into play with this particular type of trading. Your calls can go south on you or north, basically meaning the wrong direction, but the system will flip the trades for you. Binance has recently upgraded their APIs after finally admitting to the public, after many months of denial, Binance finally admitted that their API was broken. So they fixed it, took them a few days, they got it all squared away, and so our system is working very well because now we can actually rely most of the time on Binance. So let's go into settings and see how to set this up. So with leverage, when you're looking at a large group of calls or signals across the board, mixed altcoins, you want to get something that's fairly safe. You don't want to be running out and doing like 20x or anything, because if you run 20x for a group of signals, I guarantee you're going to get liquidated on some of them, because that only gives you a little bit less than a 5% variance to go the wrong way. And with a 4-hour candle at a high leverage, you're not going to have enough time, or the system isn't going to have enough time to correct the price before you get liquidated. So what I would recommend is doing anywhere from 3x to 6x, not more than 6x. I've had really good results with 6x though. But remember that when the call starts going into the negative because of price swings and just natural up and down activity that most coins do, remember that 6x is going to put you into the negative or in the positive faster, twice as fast than a 3x will. So with a 3x, you're at least controlling 3 times the amount of coin for 1 time the money. So $100 at 3x is going to get you into the control of $300 worth of that altcoin. But if the price drops by 10%, at 3x the price is going to be dropping by 30%. At a 6x, it's going to be dropping by 60%. So just keep that in mind when you decide what you want to do for your leverage. Now, a good setting to start with is 4x. So I would do something here like, let's say you want to put $1,000 into Prospero and just get it to where it grows. I would do something, probably get me into about 8 signals. So I think I would do about 130. That's going to be just about right to get me into 8 signals. Let's see, let me make sure here. So that's going to get me into 7 signals. So let's do 120. So 1,000 allocated, 120 per signal. You would go into Binance and you would make a new API key set. But first you have to activate futures. So let me back up a little bit. If you've never traded futures, go into your Binance.com account and activate futures. Just act like you're going to go into a manual trade, but you just stop short of that, and a screen will pop up and say, do you want to activate futures? And you say yes. And then once you've activated your futures account in Binance.com, you go in, create a new API key set. The first thing you do is give it a name. It won't let you make a new key set unless you name it. So once you've got it created and you're on that screen, then you go in and you edit. When you edit, you make sure that you check the box that says Enable Futures, and then you save it. Then take your main API key and your futures secret key and copy and paste those into a text file. That way you have the keys. You don't have to make new ones if you want to go in and use them again sometime. And that's just what I do. When I copy and paste, also, you have to take great care to make sure you don't get any leading space, no space in the beginning, and no space after the end of your API keys. If you do, they're not going to work. Because if you think about it, you have all these letters and numbers, and if you get a space at the end of it, is that the same as this? No, it's not. It's this. So you have that extra space. It totally changes the value of your key. So just be careful there and you'll be fine. So I use Control C to copy, Control V to paste, V as in Victor. Paste your main key, secret key. This only uses isolated because you don't want to get into a situation where you're using other assets or other trades in futures for collateral. You just don't want to do that. So that comes into play later on when you start doing manual trading. You can have that option. So let's go. Let's say we got our keys in here. Main key, secret key. What kind of leverage do we want? I'd recommend starting out with 4x. So 4x is a good, reasonably safe level of leverage. You can either take straight profit or you can use trailing profit. Trailing profit works really well with futures. The reason is because you might have just a great trend that's just going really, really well. Let's say it's a long, and let's say you've got 5% trigger. It's already gone to 5%, but it hasn't fallen back. I recommend like 5 and 2. That's going to give you a pretty good setting. Once it gets to 5%, it will set this as a trailing stop in your futures account on Binance. So that if it goes up 5, falls back by 2, you get a gross gain of 3% multiplied by 4, which is 12% net. It's a really good profit on just one signal. So once you start getting good results, let's say everything's just boom, 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 everything sells down the line, no problems, you can raise this to 6, and just adjust it slowly and find that sweet spot that works for you based on your own time schedule, how much you have to work, how much time you want to spend with family, and most important of all, your technical analysis ability. So that is pretty much it for futures and spot. Don't forget to save your changes to get this all set up. And another thing that you have to do, if you're going to get into spot signals, you have to go up to My Account and you have to set up two-factor authentication inside our system. That makes it so that your login is secure. And I use Google Authenticator. You can use another system that you like, but you basically just go in here, open Google Authenticator, hit the plus button to start a new entry, scan this. That'll be done instantly. And then go down, and if you're using Google Authenticator, you click TOTP, Save Settings. I save it here, and I also go up and save it at the top. There's another button. You want to make sure you enable, but only enable after you have set up either Google Authenticator, Authy, or whatever you use for your two-factor. So that's it there. One last quick thing. You also have to set up your API keys. Now this is only for spot. If you notice, the API keys are set up in your individual futures settings area, but for spot trades you have to put them here. So you paste your API key here, paste your secret key there, click update, and you're done. Just a quick reminder, make sure of be aware of the leading space, trailing space issue, just so you don't change your API key to a different value, because it's not going to recognize it if a space is there. So have fun, make some money, and I'm out.